I don't know, like I just don't see why I would ever allow them to eat. I recently had a request from a subscriber to discuss what I don't let my kids do. She had watched my video about 16 things that I let my kids do, and she left a comment that she would love to hear about some boundaries that I have for my kids. And I'm just trusting that you know me well enough to know there's zero judgment if you do let your kids do these things. Honestly, my hope in sharing these are really to give you permission and encourage you to have boundaries with your kids for everybody's sake. In my video, My Kids Aren't Getting Along, I told you guys the main 2 household rules that I have. So those are the first 2 things on my list of what I don't allow my kids to do. I do not allow any physical aggression, and I also don't allow talking unkindly. Those are really the 2 main spoken rules or expectations and things that I have set consequences for. You are welcome to check out that video. I will leave it up in the cards and in the description if you want to go into more detail into those. The rest of these things on my list are more unspoken, and I just have them in place either for my kids' sake or mine. That's the thing with boundaries. Boundaries are absolutely positive and healthy for kids to know what to expect. It provides safety for them and security for them, teaches them good life lessons, but then also boundaries can be in place for our benefit and for our well-being, and that's what honestly a lot of mine fall into. So number 3 would be I do not let my kids have sleepovers. It's just what I'm comfortable with, and really hasn't been a problem for us. Like, it's not something we've ever even had an argument about or anything. I don't allow that. Along the same vein, I don't let them go play at a stranger's house. So this might sound like a no-brainer, but you would be so surprised the number of children that I have come over to play at our house, like friends of my kids, whose parents I have never met. Obviously, they've never met me, and so I am a stranger to them, and they're allowing their child to come over and play. So for me and my kids, until I have spent a significant amount of time in a home, I don't let my kid go there and play. I do this for my kids' safety as well as just for my own peace of mind. I do not let my kids sleep in my bed. I never have, and I never will, as far as I can tell. For me, I just sleep a lot better, and I feel confident that my kids sleep better, and sleep is just something that I really, really prioritize in our home. I need good sleep in order to feel like I can really thrive, and I know my kids really do too. Over the years, I have also realized the importance of creating a space for me that is mine, that is kind of a protected space, so that it can be like kind of a haven for me. If you let them, kids will encroach on all of your personal space, all of your personal things, and that's where a lot of my boundaries come into play. As much as I love my children and prioritize them in so many ways, I also am at a point in my life, thank goodness, that I have learned to prioritize myself and my own need for self-care. The third reason for this rule is protecting space for me and my husband as well, and our time together. Along the same lines, my kids don't use my bathroom, and that's definitely not a rule or something that I've ever even said, and there are absolutely like maybe random times that I suggest that they use my bathroom if there's like an emergency, but in this home, it works really well for me to just kind of have me and my husband to have our own bathroom. It wasn't the case in my old house, but I have really, really enjoyed it, and now it's kind of just become a boundary for me. It, once again, is just another space that just doesn't get as messy, right? And doesn't get used as often, and is a place that I feel like I can spend time in, and it's kind of my space. Next would be I don't let them stay up late. This is for their health. Growing children absolutely need their sleep, but it's really just as important for me to have some time to unwind by myself or with my husband. So on most days, my 3 kids are tucked in by 7:30 p.m. and lights out happens at 8:30 p.m. That's kind of evolved as they've gotten a little bit older. I have a 9, 7, and 3-year-old. So they are allowed to kind of hang out in their room, in their beds. They have a little neck light that they can read or color while they listen to an audiobook, and then at 8:30 everything gets shut off, and that's more like the time to really sleep. As my kids have gotten older, I've just noticed that they do really well to actually have some alone time and just some really calm time to kind of prep their body for sleep. And then I'm not feeling frustrated if it takes them forever to fall asleep. It's kind of built into the schedule that they get tucked in early, knowing that they're gonna need some time to unwind. So it's just working really well for all of us to have that solid bedtime routine. At 7:30, everyone's in bed. I don't allow my kids to wear shoes in the house. This goes for all of us, of course. It's kind of a family rule, and it definitely hasn't always been my rule, but I really enjoy having that expectation because shoes are just so dirty. It makes my life so much happier and easier with this boundary in place. There are, of course, occasions when someone's running back into the house really quick and they leave their shoes on, and I don't let that upset me. It's totally fine, but it really is a priority to me to just keep it clean. Honestly, like there's no reason we need to be wearing shoes inside the house, and we do all have a pair of house shoes. So those are the shoes that are allowed in the house. I almost never let my kids use my phone. Again, this hasn't always been the case, but I realized somewhere along the way years ago that I just needed my kids to recognize and respect my personal things. I think I just needed them to understand that they didn't have unlimited access and permission to use anything of mine. There are very few things that fall into this category of like mine, but my phone is definitely one of them. And I just realized there's rarely a time that they legitimately need it, and it just really was so unnecessary for me to have the inconvenience of not having access to my phone, being worried about them dropping it or sticky fingers on my phone. Like, mamas, we just need some things that are ours that we don't have the constant just like grabbing fingers. Like, my kids never grab for my phone. They never ask for my phone. It is so nice. Okay, I think we're on number 10, maybe. I don't let them grow up too fast. This means that they don't watch any shows or movies that are not totally kid appropriate. It means that my 9-year-old daughter does not wear makeup or other just like grown-up things. It means that our conversations are age appropriate. I don't weigh them down by a ton of local or world news. Basically, I go out of my way to protect their childhood. Check out the book Simplicity Parenting if you want to kind of hear more about that philosophy and why I do it. I would highly recommend. I don't let my kids have a lot of screen time. 30 minutes a day on some days is what we typically do. They'll watch a cartoon or play a game during that time, and there are plenty of days that they don't even bring it up because they're busy with other things or we're doing Play-Doh or, something else. Screen time has definitely ebbed and flowed throughout the years, and there have been times that screen time is a very solid thing built in, right? Like, they used to do quiet time when I was homeschooling, and always after quiet time, once they picked up their room, they would get screen time. And that was it was a really solid rhythm. It worked really well at that time. And now with them being in school and just, I don't know, life changes. It's just more of a, sometimes we do it. Like, they'll ask and I'll say yes, right? Or we won't because of this other reason. There have definitely also been times when we have gone months screen-free, like completely screen-free. No screens in the house, really. And I don't know, like, it's just right now and really never have I allowed them to have much screen time. I do not hesitate to take breaks from screens if there's a reason to. My kids are incredibly creative and imaginative and busy, and I am so great to allow screens to enhance their lives. And if it starts going the other way, then, it's gotta go. So, funny story, really quick. On Mother's Day, my 6-year-old son was filling out one of those papers, I don't know, maybe it was in school or something, where it says, like, my mom is, the thing my mom's best at is this, or all these things, and they prompt the child to, like, respond. So one of them said, my mom always says, ... and he wrote no to screens. It was so funny. And he's not wrong. Like, he is not wrong. I say that a lot. Okay, I don't let them eat throughout the house. So they are allowed to eat at the counter, at the table, or outside. It's just such an unnecessary mess and waste of food a lot of the times because things get left out. Stuff gets just, it gets dropped. It gets like messy fingers on stuff. I don't know. Like, I just don't see why I would ever allow them to eat just roaming around the house. Like, that's just very unnecessary. All right, that's what I came up with. We are not depriving our kids by having boundaries. If you could write down like a super duper long list of things you don't let them do, that's probably maybe a little out of balance. But for most of us, boundaries are a sign that we love them, and our list of what we do allow them to do is much, much longer. If we have that balance, like, we absolutely want to give our kids freedom. We want to give them choices. We want to allow them to explore and be creative and do so many things. And we also want to give them boundaries out of love. We're not just trying to control them. We are trying to instill values. We're trying to teach them very important lessons, even if that lesson is respect for their mom. All of those things are so healthy. And I absolutely know parents who, in my opinion, are way too strict. And I also know plenty who let their kids run the household. Both of those situations have ramifications on the kids, on the parents, on the relationship. But it just takes finding the right balance, and it is just going to be experimenting. But permission to have boundaries with your kids. Permission to determine some things that really matter to you. And permission to have that expectation for people in your house. You will feel much more respected. You will feel happier. It will make your job feel so much easier, while also having the ripple effect of positive consequences on your kids, right? Your preferences matter. You matter. Go get them, ladies. Tell me in the comments what you don't allow. I would love to hear what works for everybody. I will see you soon.